The Edge of Night.
Just sitting in his car and waiting for me. For days. Waiting for me to come out of the New Moon Cafe. Alone. Which, of course, I never did. Except the other day. I just wasn't feeling very well. Thought I'd get a little fresh air. And he came up behind me. Took me completely by surprise. Forced me into his car, slammed the door, and drove off. There was nothing I could do.
I understand. But I also understand that you need some rest.
Please don't go.
I only asked for 5 minutes. It's at least 3 times that now.
Will you come back soon?
Well, I may never leave. I may pitch a tent out there in the corner and just stay out there until it's time to take you home.
I do love you so much. I hope you love me as much when I tell you everything.
You don't have to tell me anything.
Oh, yes, I think I do.
Get some rest.
Mr. Drake, do you have a moment? Yeah, sure. I should like to speak to you about your wife.
Yes?
I don't want you to be alarmed. I don't think she's in any danger. As you've seen, she seems to be coming through her ordeal remarkably well. But her system has suffered a tremendous shock. She's been injected with really overwhelming quantities of drugs. Drugs which administered separately would cause huge problems. But in a combination, really, it's a marvel that she survived it all. She's got a tremendous constitution. And in one sense, her abductor may have helped keep her alive.
How do you mean?
Well, in cases of barbiturate poisoning, it's important that patients not be allowed to slip into such a deep state of narcosis that they can't be revived. We try to keep them awake, keep them functioning. In Mrs. Drake's case, it was probably the relentless questioning, the fear, her own fear, that enabled her to live. And she is going to live.
But what are you telling me, Doctor?
Well, you see, our concern is that although your wife was able to survive, the drug she was given may have caused damage to the fetus. Now, you can consider yourself very fortunate that your wife has come through this as well as she has. Even if she should lose the baby, it is...
The baby? Doctor, you telling me that my wife is pregnant?
Concern is that although your wife was able to survive, the drug she was given may have caused damage to the fetus. You can consider yourself fortunate that she came through this as well as she did. But even if she has to lose the baby...
Baby? Doctor, are you telling me that my wife is pregnant?
Yes, of course. You didn't know?
No, Doctor, I didn't.
Oh, I see. But I rather suspect that Mrs. Drake knew. Perhaps she didn't find the chance to tell you.
Are you sure about this?
Yes, of course. I would say that she was nearing the end of her first trimester, 11 or 12 weeks pregnant. If this situation hadn't occurred, she might have had a perfectly normal pregnancy.
My God.
Have you had other children?
No.
Well, then you may not know that drugs do pass through the placental wall. The fetus is bound to be affected. We don't know how much. Mr. Drake, I am very, truly sorry that you should find out this way.
Yes, all right, Doctor.
Under the circumstances, I don't think it would be wise to discuss it with your wife at this time.
No, of course not. Bill, this Dr.
Haskell. Doctor.
This is Bill Marceau, Chief of Police.
Chief, how's Mrs. Drake? We expect a full recovery for her. Oh, well, that's good to hear. Yes, I expect you two need to talk. I'll be across the way if you need me.
Thank you, Doctor.
Well,
Bill, I don't know how to express my thanks for what you've done. you don't have to, Adam. We just got lucky.
No, it wasn't luck, Bill. You know that. It was very bright of you to trace Jordan through his prescriptions.
Well, that's what I mean. Lucky, Ed. Lucky. Jordan was writing prescriptions.
Sodium pentothal. It's not so lucky for Nicole.
No. How is she? Have you seen her?
Yeah, I've seen her. She's very weak, Bill.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. When I got into that room and saw the way she looked, I tell you, that was the luckiest break of all, Adam. The fact that Jordan had a room with a connecting bath. Otherwise, we might still be in a hostage situation. Anyway, the important thing is that Nicole's going to be all right. And we've got Jordan where he won't hurt anybody else for a long time.
Bill, I know how much this means to you.
Yeah. There's not anything that can bring Phoebe back, Adam. Oh, I do have to admit that I do feel better about things. Anyway, how long are we going to keep Nicole here, you know?
I don't know. Bill, there's a complication. Nicole is pregnant. Did you hear me?
Yeah.
Well, that news hit me like a ton of bricks. That didn't seem to have surprised you at all.
No, it didn't matter because I knew. Nancy had told me. Nicole had confided in her. Now, maybe I was somewhat remiss in not passing the information along to you, Adam, but I just felt I didn't want to burden you anymore. At any rate, that was my decision. I think she would have told you long before this, Adam.
Why didn't she tell? She confided in Nancy. Why not me? I'm her husband.
That's something you're going to have to discuss with her.
Yeah. Well, maybe she thought that... Oh, well, no point in speculating about it.
Adam, Nancy said that apparently Nicole felt some reluctance in broaching the subject to her.
But she already broached the subject.
Before her disappearance.
Yeah. She said something about her thinking about starting a family now that things were back to normal.
Apparently, you didn't react too well to that conversation.
Oh, well, Bill, I mean, you know, it just seemed... No, I didn't. I just didn't think it was a very hot idea. I started to think about children. Then.
How do you feel now that it's no longer hypothetical?
Well, I don't know. Bill, it seems to me that we've had so little time together without some threat hanging over us in some fashion or another. I just figured that what we needed was some time, some space, just to live a bit. Oh, gee whiz, I was thinking of buying a boat and going out and... Bill, do you think it was my fault that she didn't feel like she could tell me?
Chief Marshal, there's a telephone call for you.
Oh, thank you, Doctor.
Excuse me, Ed.
Thanks, Doctor. Yes.
Bill, it's Mike. I called headquarters and Helen told me you were there. I'm at Niven's Hotel, Bill, and the man is dead. Our key witness against Saxon is never going to testify.
Case, as far as I'm concerned. No doubt the man was very sick. We found nitro and anticoagulant.
Natural causes, then.
That's what I'm writing up. Unless you want me to hold up on it.
No.
Looks like an act of God that's going to benefit Tony Saxon, Mike. Doctor, were there any marks on the body of any kind?
Nothing, sir. Just a straightforward case of a heart that gave out. He even carried a card in his wallet that identified him as a coronary patient.
All right, go ahead, write it up. We may want to ask for an autopsy later.
Bill, I just can't believe it. Our whole case will go right out the window with this man's death. I wonder if there's any chance of having that trial postponed.
It'll be up to the DA, of course. But frankly, Mike, I doubt it. Well, there's really not much point in our hanging around here any longer, Mike. I think I'll sit on home and get a bite of dinner. Want to come along?
Oh, thanks, Bill, but I told Adam that I'd meet him for dinner.
Oh, incidentally, Adam now knows about Nicole's pregnancy.
She told him?
No, apparently the doctor did. He's had a rough few days. Now, suddenly it seems, his wife is embarking on another journey.
I don't think there's any need for you to stick around. The last report is that she was sound asleep, and I hope that continues right through the night. We will monitor her very closely. I don't think there's any need for you to be concerned.
Doctor, what are the chances for the baby?
That's hard to say. At this early stage of pregnancy, it's almost impossible to tell exactly what's going on. We just have to wait and see.
Is she getting any treatment?
Well, there's nothing to give. She's either got damage or there is no damage. Mr. Drake, I have to be honest with you. I think that it's very likely that your wife will not have this baby.
Couldn't really believe it was happening. I mean, I guess I'd started to believe that the whole thing was over and done with. Claude Revenant, his miserable islands were all just a bad memory. Something I could forget for once and for all, and that included Clay Jordan. But you knew that he was wanted, though. Yes, I did know that. Bill told me he was suspected of killing both Quentin and Phoebe. Although I'm not sure I was fully convinced that it was true. Well, are you now? No question about it, Nancy. Clay confessed it to me. In fact, he almost did something worse. He almost gave me a demonstration. Oh, good heavens, Nicole, what you have been through. Nancy, what I never expected was that Clay would ever try to harm me. That he was so desperate to find out where Claude Revenant was. And of course, the police knew all the time. Because Billy Gomes had told them. Probably by that time, they'd invaded his island. He was arrested and in prison somewhere on St. Anthony. Well, I don't know anything about that. Anyway, I kept trying to convince Clay that it simply didn't matter. Just wouldn't believe me. Kept using that drug on me, the sodium pentothal. The only thing I'm really worried about is that it might have been very harmful to the baby. Nicole, have you had a chance to talk to Adam about the baby? Oh, Nancy, no. I tried. Last night, I really tried. He just wouldn't let me. Something I've got to do today, this very morning. Just one more little ordeal that I'm going to have to face. I think not. You won't have to do that, Nicole, because Adam knows. Be avoided, because when you were brought here, the doctor examined you and tests were made, and the facts speak for themselves. It couldn't have been avoided. The doctor told Adam. Well, inadvertently, I understand. The doctor was talking to Adam about you and your pregnancy without even realizing that Adam didn't even know. Oh, Nancy. Oh, what a shock that must have been to Adam. Oh, I feel worse than ever now. But, Nicole, I hope you do understand that I didn't think that I should tell Adam about that. I mean, number one, you were missing. Oh, no, of course not. Look, I really didn't mean to burden you with this. Nicole, after you disappeared, I had thought it would be wise to tell someone, just in case it had some bearing on your disappearance.
Well, how could it possibly?
Well, I knew that you were upset, and maybe you just wanted to be off by yourself. Maybe there was some kind of connection, so I went to Bill, and I told Bill.
You did the right thing.
Poor Bill. Adam was there every minute. He was there the whole time at headquarters while they were trying to find you, and even Bill wasn't able to get himself to tell Adam the news.
No, it would have been a terrible thing to do. It would have made Adam twice as upset.
That's exactly what Bill said, too. Nicole, please don't worry. Please, everything's going to be fine. And your baby is going to be all right.
Nancy, have you talked to anybody about it?
Well, no, not exactly.
You tell me the truth if you had heard anything.
I have not spoken to anyone in authority, and I have definitely not heard anything about the baby being in danger.
I guess I just can't help worrying about it. Kind of funny to be worried about a baby that hasn't even been announced to its father yet.
Oh, Adam is going to be so happy about it. Really, I'm sure. I'm sure he's gotten quite used to the idea now.
Then how come I'm so afraid to face it?
He is your husband, Nicole. And he loves you very much. Now, come on, don't... Trust your husband, Nicole. There's nothing more important than... There's nothing more important than trust.
It doesn't have anything to do with stealing. It's just a question of giving Timmy an alternative place to go, that's all. Listen, my parents were all ready to adopt Timmy when Josephine Harper came along.
Josephine Harper had the prior claim. She also happens to be a relative.
Oh, you don't believe all of that about blood being thicker than water? Something very strange is going on here, Johnny.
What is
Something
happening?
very peculiar.
What is happening that is so strange? What's so peculiar? The kid's in the country with his uncle. What's so peculiar?
She won't tell me where he is. She acts like it's some great big, deep, dark secret.
Maybe she would like to keep it a nice, deep, dark secret. Maybe she's afraid the kid is going to see you and then start getting homesick for Monticello and your mother.
I am going to see this Mr. Moore today. He sounds very efficient over the phone.
Sounds very efficient over the phone.
Well, he has the biggest ad in the Yellow Pages.
Which makes him the best detective in San Francisco.
You know what I mean?
The guy could be turned out to be a nothing. Detectives cost money. You got money?
I told you I would pay for it. I have enough money.
That's fine. That's just wonderful.
Oh, come on. Now, quit acting like I'm some criminal or something.
I wish you would start acting a little bit like a mother and a wife.
Do you really think that I don't miss J.D.? Or do you think that I just miss holding him?
You could be holding him in just about 4 hours, you know.
Well, Johnny, I love you and J.B. more than anything in the world, but if I don't do this, I will always feel like I've failed my parents, that I haven't done everything I could.
Look, babe. If I really believed that what you were doing was accomplishing something, if it was really going to solve the problem between your mother and father, this 9-year-old kid named Timmy, but I'm sorry, I just don't buy it. I'd better get out of here. That plane leaves about now.
Yeah.
Look, what do you want me to say, people back there?
I don't know. Whatever you think best.
You're going to think I'm a rat leaving my wife in San
I'll
Francisco.
explain it to them when I get back. I'll miss you.
I miss you too. Look, what you're doing here, you think it's the right thing to do, okay? I love you. I think you're a little crazy. I think you're nutty as a fruitcake, but love you, and, well, I'm not going to be worth 2 cents until you get back. Look, I better get out of here, huh?
I'll go back with you.
Take it very easy. I'm sure you're going to hear that a lot, too. But, Nicole, really, if there is anything at all that I can do for you, please let me.
Excuse me, I thought you were alone.
Oh, gee, Wildy, I'm just leaving it. Nancy, I don't think you've ever met Steve Guthrie. Steve, this is Mrs. Mike Carr.
Oh, Mrs. Carr, it's nice meeting you.
Mr. Guthrie, nice to meet you, too. Okay, now, you remember what I said. Thank you. Thanks for everything. All right, dear. Bye-bye now. Bye, Nancy. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, how you feeling?
Oh, I'm okay, I think. I mean, I haven't gotten out of this bed since they brought me in here. Steve, thank you for everything you did. You were wonderful, all of you.
Look, the credit should go to the chief. I mean, he thought of canvassing the drugstores, which is how we found Jordan. It was his idea about the connecting baths.
I don't think I've ever been so glad to see anyone burst through a door as I was to see Bill, but I don't understand what you mean about drugstores.
Oh, you haven't heard the story, have you? How we found you?
Steve, I have not heard a thing. Nobody's told me anything.
Well, look, there's plenty of time to go into the details later.
There's one detail I would rather like to know. Have they found Claude Revenant?
Not exactly.
Not exactly. What does that mean?
Well, the truth, Nicole, is that when the cops arrived on the island, Claude Revenant wasn't even there.
I just don't see how that could happen, Steve.
Well,
everyone said that it was absolutely impossible for him to get away this time.
yeah, that's what everybody thought. It was a very small island. The only way to get off of it was by a boat or by a plane.
And how did he manage?
Simple. He wasn't there when the cops arrived.
Not there.
He had left the day before the raid. I mean, he left everything on the island, all his loot.
Steve, do you suppose it's possible that he knew what was going to happen?
Somebody might have been able to manage to tell him from the police force. But look, it has nothing to do with you anymore. The only reason this guy was concerned about you was because he thought you knew his secret. Now you don't know any more about the guy than anybody else, so it just doesn't matter.
Yeah. I guess it just doesn't matter.
Southern Airlines announces the arrival of Flight 21 from Miami, Florida. Passengers from Flight 21 from Miami can be greeted at Gate 7.
didn't turn out the way everybody was hoping. Cops wanted to just land on the island and arrest this lunatic.
I just don't understand how he got away, Steve.
He made his plans very carefully.
Oh, we assumed that he probably had an escape route on this new island, just like he had on the old one. Only Adam said that they were prepared for anything that he might do.
That's right. They were prepared. No matter how Revenaugh thought he would escape, they were ready for him.
And yet he got away anyway.
Mm-hmm. He left the day before the race. You know what? I think somebody tipped this guy off.
Who, Steve?
Who? Who knows? Who knows what connections this guy had down in the Bahamas? I mean, he was likely to pay off any guy on the police force. It's been known to happen. Not just in the Caribbean. It's awful. Hey, listen, look. Remember what I said? This doesn't have the slightest thing to do. Not with you. This guy has called his dogs off.
Yeah. He called them off when he was convinced that I didn't know where his island was. I wonder if he's thinking he made a mistake. That somehow I suddenly remembered that I was responsible for sending those police there.
Nicole, look. Look, this doesn't have anything to worry you about now. Not now. Look, Revenaugh is all washed up. The only thing he can do is find a new hiding place. And that has nothing to do with you. Not a thing.
Good afternoon, Monticello Hotel. May I help you? Oh, yes, sir. Yes, I think I can accommodate you, sir. What date was that again? The 8th. Uh-huh. Yes, I can give you a double room on the 5th floor, sir. Will that be all right? Would you like me to make that reservation now, sir? Ah, yes, that'll be fine. Thank you very much. Ah, yes, sir. What can I do for you?
I called from the airport for a reservation.
Oh, yes, you were the gentleman that called about the suite.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, sir. Well, it's all ready for you, sir. I'm sorry, I forgot your last name.
The name is Dantes. Edmund Dantes.
Yes, well, if you'd just like to sign in here, sir. Mr. Dantes? How long will you be staying with us, Mr. Dantes?
Not very long.
Well, if you could give us some idea, it'd be very helpful.
Well, what do you say to 3 days? See, it all depends on how long it takes me to conclude my business.
I see. Well, thank you very much, sir. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't quite make out the home address.
It's Chateau d'If. Marseille, France.
Oh, yes, of course. Fine. Thank you very much. Doesn't seem to be anybody about at the moment. I'm sorry, sir, to keep you waiting.
Just give me the key to my room. You can have someone bring up my bags later.
Oh, yes, of course. That's the 4th floor, the Caribbean suite.
The Caribbean? Yes, of course. What else?
Yes.
Here I am, Mr. Benson.
Oh, yes, Charlie. 2 bags for the 4th floor Caribbean suite. The gentleman's already gone.
Right.
Charlie, just a moment. You were a student not long ago, weren't you?
Sure, Mr. Benson. In fact, I'm still going to night school.
Mm-hmm. Does the name Edmund Dantes mean anything to you?
Dantes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like something out of Dickens or maybe Dumont. Yes, Dantes, the Count of Monte Cristo.
Oh, yes, I saw the picture. Yeah.
Sure, it's about this guy who was a prisoner on an island, but he escaped.
The Chateau d'If, maybe?
Yeah, that's it. What?
I don't know, Charlie. Somebody's trying to pull our leg, but you know something? As long as he pays the bill, I don't care if he thinks he's the king of Siam. Look, I've got to get out of here. You should be getting some rest.
You going back on duty now?
No. This is my day off, thanks to working a double shift yesterday. As a matter of fact, I've got a lunch date.
But I'm awfully glad you came by. even if you didn't bring me especially good news.
Hey, I'm sorry about that. I understand you have some good news. Anyway, listen. If it's a boy, promise me you won't let him grow up to be a policeman, will you?
Ah, Steve, you know about the baby, too.
Well, if it's a secret, I'll keep my big mouth shut.
Hardly a secret. Can't keep something a secret since half the town of Monticello knows about it. The only trouble is, the last person to find out just happened to be the father.
Yeah, well, isn't that the way? As a matter of fact, Chief Marceau told us not to worry Adam about it.
Worry me about what?
Oh, hi, Adam. How are you? Listen, I was just leaving. You know, you got a terrific wife there.
What are you talking
terrific. Oh, hey, listen, I've got a lunch date with a lady who hates to be stood up. Goodbye. Bye-bye.
Goodbye. He didn't hang around very long, did he?
Glad to see you.
Hi. What was he talking about?
He was, telling me why Bill Marceau didn't want to tell you about the baby.
Bill Marceau. Also Mike Carr, Molly O'Connor, Dr. Lacey. Let's see who else on that list. Nancy Carr. Steve Guthrie knows about it. One
Darling,
person didn't tell
don't,
me.
please. I was going to tell you. If you just think back a little, you'll remember the night when I tried to talk to you about it.
We weren't talking about that, darling. We were talking about a hypothetical baby, one that didn't belong to anybody.
Adam, don't you remember how that conversation went? I mean, you weren't exactly wildly excited about the idea of a hypothetical baby. Do you remember that? Well, it wasn't.
We had never discussed it.
And when a couple does not discuss something so obvious, that kind of indicates that there's a lack of interest in the subject.
I beg to differ with you there. You see, we never discussed it because it wasn't the time to discuss it. After all, how long have we been married? No sooner did we get married, but we were separated. And then by the time we got back together again, other things began to happen.
Adam, I'm sorry.
I'm just sorry how it happened.
The baby, you mean?
No. No, I always kept in the dark about it.
Well, I should have been the one to tell you. And I was going to the night that Clay Jordan came along. Tell me something. What would you have said if I told you about it that night? About our baby?
I don't know what I would have said.
Would you have been terribly upset? Thrown me out into the snow, told me never to darken your doorstep again?
That would have been a good idea. On the other hand, I might have put my arm around you and said, what are we going to name him?
Adam, I want this baby very much. I know we never planned on it. But when Dr. Lacey told me about it, it was as if something I had wanted my entire life had just been given to me.
Well, of course, we never talked about motherhood per se.
Maybe a woman doesn't really have to. I mean, the thought of it, possibility is always there, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've been reading some articles about women who have very deliberately chosen not to add to the population. Now, that's all right. I used to be one of those. About 3 months ago. Now I'm on the other side.
You're quite excited about this, aren't you?
Yes. I think it's the most wonderful, miraculous, mysterious thing that's ever happened to me. That's why I'm frightened about it, too.
About what?
About what I've just been through. About what Clay Jordan put me through. All the time that was happening. All the time I was drugged with that sodium pentothal, I kept thinking, I kept saying to him, don't do this to me. You could be hurting my baby.
harming my child. Do you think he has?
No. No. Everything's going to be just fine. It's about time everything was just fine. Everything's going to be just fine.
Thank you.
Would you like me to hang anything up for you?
No, thank you.
I could hang your suits for you so they won't get wrinkled. Won't take me a minute.
I said no thank you, didn't I?
Yes, sir. Whatever you say.
Well, that's what I say.
Yes, sir.
What are you waiting for? Well, you want a tip, don't you? Here. Here's another tip for you, young man. When you want something done right, you have to do it yourself.
Famous lady, you know that? Wait till you see their front pages of the evening paper.
Oh, no, thank you very much. I really don't think I want to see that. I don't even want to think about what happened, much less read about it.
All right to come in?
Oh, Mike, of course it is. Oh, it's wonderful to see you.
Not nearly as wonderful as it is seeing you alive and well.
Mrs. Drake, I'll be right outside if you need me. And I'm afraid your visitor can't stay too long. It's almost past visiting hours.
I won't stay long, I promise you. Sorry I couldn't get here earlier. Had to be down at the courthouse.
Oh, Mike, perfectly all right. You are a sight for sore eyes, which is exactly how mine are feeling, along with the rest of them.
Well, you've had quite an ordeal. Thank God it ended when it did. And that the police got to you before things got worse.
Worse? Mike, that man was about to kill me. I mean, it's unbelievable. Clay Jordan, someone who was supposed to be my friend, more than a friend.
Well, he'll be out of action for good. All we have to worry about now is taking care of you.
Well, I guess you know I have another life to take care of.
Yes, I know. After your disappearance, several people were told about it. And I know that you didn't get a chance to tell Adam before Clay Jordan popped back into the picture.
No, Mike, it wasn't exactly that I did not have a chance. I was afraid to tell Adam. We had a little talk one night about the possibility of my having a baby, and I got the feeling my husband wasn't too happy about the idea.
Well, becoming a father is kind of like becoming a husband. A man's not quite sure that it's such a good idea until it's actually happened, and then he thinks it's the best idea in the world.
I wish I could really believe that.
About Adam? Nicole, I'm sure of it. Remember how long it took him to propose? And after he did...
Mike, we're not talking about marriage. We are talking about fatherhood. And I just simply don't know how Adam feels about that. Look, he's putting on a very good show. That's typical of Adam, but I don't know how he really feels. Do you?
Nicole, give Adam a chance to get used to the idea. I guarantee you, within a couple of weeks, he'll be trying to decide which college to enroll his child in.
He really thinks so, Mike. Look, you've been Adam's best friend for a very long time. And you're my friend, too. So we can be honest with one another. You know perfectly well that Adam Drake is not a very domestic animal. There are times when I think maybe he's even chosen the wrong profession. Oh, it's not that he doesn't enjoy practicing the law. He does. But the practice of law requires that you stay within walls. And Adam really hates walls. Now, there's nothing so confining in this entire world as the four walls of a nursery. Now, you know that because you have had a child.
Well, I never thought of a nursery as being a place of confinement. When Laurie Ann was born, and I got used to the idea of being a father, it was like an introduction to a whole new world of feeling and experience. I couldn't wait for the day to be over so I could get home just to be with her.
Mike, you and Adam are two totally different human beings.
with most people. That's what kept the human race lasting this long. Because we all finally realized that the kids renew us, expand us. They don't imprison us. They release us. And Adam will feel the same way if you give him half a chance.
And what if he doesn't? Does that mean I lose him again?
You've never lost him, Nicole.
Oh, Mike. It frightens me. You know, for a little while there, I kind of thought I had nothing to be afraid about anymore. And here I am, frightened all over again with a whole new set of reasons. Just imagine it. It's really quite amazing if you think about it. The possibility of an Adam Drake Jr.
Nothing wrong with a Junior Nicole, either. Nothing wrong with the original.
Well, now let's have a vacation, a real vacation. You leave all your worries behind you. You don't take them with you.
Well, it wasn't really anything I was worried about. I just wanted to see Timmy, that's all.
Nancy, I don't think you have any idea of how stubborn your daughter can be. Let me tell you, I didn't mind her wanting to see Timmy. I wanted to see him myself. There was only one little problem. He didn't happen to be in San Francisco.
Yes, you had told me that he was out in the country somewhere.
They were hiding, you know.
Oh, now. Nobody was hiding anybody. You know as well as I do that his uncle had taken him out in the country long before we even arrived in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she wanted to see the kid so bad, she started doing a little snooping. Went to the neighborhood and started asking people about Mrs. Josephine Harper.
You're beginning to sound like a private detective.
Don't think that didn't cross her mind. The last day that we were there, she was talking on the phone to a private detective.
Laurie, what did you do?
All right. Maybe I went a little bit overboard, but I thought it was worthwhile.
She wanted to see that kid so bad, she almost stayed and let me come back.
Johnny, could we please not talk about it anymore? I mean, I didn't get to see Timmy, so I guess we can just forget about him coming back here.
You really, believe that in bringing Timmy back, everything would change here?
Well, something has to change, Mother.
Something has changed.
What do you mean?
Well, look, no doubt you'll hear this from your father. I'm sure you will. I just wanted to say that I became involved in a situation a while ago, and I made a very bad mistake. I gave some privileged information to Mr. Bo Richardson.
You did what?
We traded information. I guess that's what you would call it. It was trade.
Nancy, Bo Richardson runs the Ace of Clubs.
And he used that information to help his friend, Mr. Anthony Saxon.
That's incredible. You couldn't do a thing like that.
Nancy, why?
Look, what's done is done. I really don't want to talk about it anymore. Your dad knows about it, and
Naturally, he's very upset. And I believe he's not just thinking about a legal separation. I believe he's definitely thinking of a divorce.
Hi. Can I come in?
Oh, I certainly wish you would. I've been wanting to talk to you all day.
Well, ta-da! Here I am. But I can't stay too long. I've got 20 people to see in the next 10 minutes. Par for the course these days.
I was just wondering about the test. I thought you might have some of the results.
Well, you know how we are in hospitals. We make one test. It tells us we ought to make another test to confirm the first test, and so on, and so on, and so on.
Does that mean I'm going to have to stay here forever?
Nope, that is not necessary. In fact, I don't see any reason why you can't be released in the next couple of days.
Well, that's good news.
Yes, as they say, that's the good news.
Sounds as if you might have some bad news, too.
I really don't want to go into a long discussion tonight. I think the three of us, you and your husband and myself, should sit down and...
No, I don't think so. I think maybe you better talk to me right now. I'm supposed to sleep tonight, remember? It's good for my health. And I don't think I'm going to sleep now that you have me so curious, to say nothing of being scared.
Well, there's no need to be scared. I'm not saying that you're in perfect health. But that's not unnatural after what you've been through.
It's my baby that I really want to know about.
Mrs. Drake, I am not an OB. You must understand that.
What are my chances of having this baby? Do you know that?
All I know is that when you leave here and go home, you will have to make up your mind to at least a couple of months of complete bed rest. I guess that's what I mean by the bad news.
I'm to go to bed for a couple of months?
Yes, I think it's necessary if you have any hopes at all of carrying this child full term. And even then, well, Mr. Drake, I think it only fair that you should know the odds.
What are they, Dr. Haskell? What if I do what you say? I mean, go to bed, do nothing at all.
50-50.
There you are, Mr. Jameson.
Thank you, John.
Are you sure there's nothing I can get you, Mrs. Whitley?
No, thank you, John. I have to keep my head about me when I play gin. Just keep plying this young man with liquor. If we get him tipsy enough, I'll split my winnings with you.
Very good, It's not going to do you any good to get me drunk, Geraldine.
That's the way the cards are running tonight. Well, I'm sorry if I'm distracting you with my questions. It's just that I'm so terribly curious about Nicole.
Well, I told you the story, at least all of it that I know. Jordan has been arrested, although there's some doubt that the trial will be held in Monticello. Evidently, there are some charges against him from abroad.
What a dreadful thing. And to think how much I trusted that man at one time, Kevin. I guess I'm not such a good judge of character, after all.
You don't have to blame yourself, Geraldine. A lot of people were taken in by Dr. Jordan. How could anyone have known that he was a murderer? Probably even Phoebe's murderer.
Oh, Kevin. I didn't think how this must be hurting you. Yes, Clay Jordan's arrest does affect you, doesn't it?
Well, he hasn't confessed. There's not much doubt that he's guilty. He told Nicole about his crimes. I guess he felt some need to talk about what he'd done.
Kevin, I'm so terribly sorry. This is a ghastly reminder for you.
Well, at least he didn't get away. And at least Nicole is all right. She didn't lose the baby. Although, if she wants to keep the child, she's going to have to spend the next couple of months in complete bed rest.
Bed rest? I can't visualize that. She's far too active.
Well, if she wants the child, that's the price that she's going to have to pay.
Oh, of course, I should be the last one to talk. I can remember an ordeal I went through myself. I was carrying my son Colin at a time when my husband was running for the Senate for the first time.
That sounds like something you would schedule just to pick up the sympathy vote.
Oh, no, poor Gordon. He didn't even want me up on the speaker's platform, taking up 2 chairs. Oh, but what a marvelous time that was for both of us. You know, I don't think I really knew what real excitement was until that election. There is no thrill like a political victory, Kevin.
I'm sure there isn't.
You know, I've often wondered what these sports people get out of winning. Oh, I hear them carrying on and crowing all the time. But still, their triumph seems so trivial, so transient compared to a political triumph.
I don't know if I would agree with you there.
Well, I think the trouble is that too many people settle for the trivia of existence. When there's so much more out there. Why, it's like settling for warm ginger ale when ice-cold champagne is available.
Us sports lovers prefer beer.
Oh, yes, I know. You think that winning a football game, or writing a good crime story, or winning a game of chess...
Just a second, Geraldine. It seems to me I've heard you crow pretty loud when you start winning a game.
Ah, yes. But that's because I too have settled for the smaller triumphs of life, Captain. Well, it's the only thing I can do. I have no chance for anything else. Until someone gives me that chance. Someone like you.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, I know. You're not the political type. You've told me that time and time again. You know what I really should do? I should give up on you completely.
That's a great idea.
I should concentrate on someone else in this household. These days, lady candidates are far more interesting anyway.
You mean a lady candidate like Raven?
Well, why not?
Jim.
Raven is a good candidate, then I'm sure she is. Oh, I know what you're thinking of. You're thinking she's much too pretty for a campaign poster.
Why should that go against her?
My dear, a beautiful woman could never get votes from other women. Sorry if that sounds cynical, but I believe it completely. No. Raven's looks would be against her. Much too threatening.
Well, maybe the male vote would make up for it.
Now, you think she's attractive, too, don't you?
Yes, very.
Well, she's also extremely bright. I don't think you realize how very bright that girl is.
Jody, will you play the game?
Oh, yes, of course. Yes. You know, Raven is one of those rare creatures whose plumage is so attractive that nobody really looks for anything underneath. But I can assure you, that girl has a very good head on her shoulders.
Well, you know what I've got?
What?
Another Jim.
Oh.
Let's see now.
Well, I do wish you could sit down and talk to her sometime, Kevin. You know, I mean seriously.
Raven and I have talked.
Oh, but not at any great length, I'm sure. Well, you two pass each other in this house like ships in the night. It seems to me if you really want to get to know someone better, that, well, you have to make a special effort.
You do have $1 million, don't you, Geraldine?
I beg your pardon?
Several million, if I understand. Because, the way the cards have been going tonight, you're going to need every bit of it. You owe me $112.17.
Have no fear, my boy. I am simply leading you on. We professionals always let the suckers win a little at first. Tactics of the game.
Your deal.
You know, Raven has quite a high opinion of you. Did you know that?
I don't know why she should.
Well, she's perceptive, that's all. She recognizes quality in people.
If you think flattery is going to make me forget what you owe me, you're absolutely wrong.
She was very moved by you, Kevin. You know, that day you talked about Peavy.
Do we have to go into that again?
I'm sorry. But I think it does show that Raven is really a very sensitive girl. Oh, I know she seems brash and uncaring at times, but actually, deep down, I think she has great sensibilities.
In the words of an old Mississippi gambler, will you shut up and deal?
Does it disturb you when I discuss Raven?
I think you're really discussing her. It's more like you're promoting her.
Oh, my dear, why do that?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe a little friendly matchmaking.
Oh, don't be absurd. I know perfectly well that you're not ready for that sort of thing.
You're right, I'm not. And this is what I would call a set of cards.
Well, you're much too lucky at cards, Kevin. But you know the old saying.
Oh, I'd much rather be lucky at cards than unlucky at love, especially when I'm winning as much money as I am.
I'll just say one more thing and then I'll shut up. Would you, after a while, would you consider seeing Raven socially?
Are you serious?
Well, she does like you, Kevin. She told me so. Good night, folks. Well, Raven, where are you off to?
Oh, just out to see a friend. I'll see you in the morning.
Don't cheat.
Good night.
Night.
Jim. Like you said, lucky.
Yes, I did. What took you so long?
Oh, I don't know.
Listen, I hope you have a full tank of gas because I want to drive all the way to Oakville.
Anywhere you say, lady.
Well, then let's get out of here. I can't wait to get out.
Well, we got to get Dr. Haskell cleared for takeoff.
I thought all the formalities were over and done with.
Well, hospitals.
Unfortunately, I've seen a few in the last couple of years.
And I have a feeling that Dr. Haskell probably wants to give us a pep talk. And you know doctors.
Oh, you know what he's going to say, don't you?
Oh, sure. Say, get plenty of rest. A little sunshine, drink all your orange juice.
Sunshine. If I listen to Dr. Haskell, the only way I'm going to get any sunshine is if I sit in front of an open window.
What kind of talk is that?
Oh, Adam, he's going to put me back into bed. He's going to turn me into an invalid. I told you what he said last night.
Oh, all he said to me was that you needed some time for healing, and that's not unreasonable considering what you've been through.
It's not because I need the healing.
Let's leave that up to the doctor, okay?
It's because of the baby. He says if I'm going to have this baby, I'm going to have to sit back, put my feet up, eat lots of candy, and read Gothic novels.
Well, let's remember one thing, and that is that Dr. Haskell is not an obstetrician.
But, darling, he's seen the tests. He's talked to all the other doctors on the staff here. And the worst thing is, even if I do exactly as he says, if I sit still, don't move for 2 months, there's still a 50-50 chance I'm going to lose this baby.
Well, life is a 50-50 chance.
I just wish I knew what you really felt about it.
About what? About life?
About this life. About this new life inside me. Darling, it's just that children should be planned. At least that's what everyone says, and in this case, I think everyone's right.
Plans change. All you have to do is adjust.
I think you're going to be able to adjust. You know, when we had that talk the other night,
Oh, no, wait a minute. Don't hold me to that talk the other night. You had information that I didn't have. I was operating on the premise you were just discussing some vague consideration in the future.
It's just that it was so positive how you felt, or should I say negative.
You asked me if I thought it was a good idea to start thinking about having children. I said no. Now, if you'd rephrased the question, you might have gotten a different answer.
Do you mean if I said, Adam, we're going to have a baby, you would have stood up, cheered?
Well, I may have stood up and gone to work. I don't know. Or stood up and come over here and kiss you like this. Oh, excuse me.
Don't mean to interrupt.
Oh, yeah.
I was just telling my husband about your suggestion, Dr. Haskell, that I become a lady of leisure. Of course, I hope you're not going to stick to that silly point.
Well, I thought if I could get you both together, I might convince you more easily that it is the best possible answer.
Oh, no.
Look, I am not asking you to accept my diagnosis as final. I am not a specialist in these matters, but I can refer you to several.
Well, as a matter of fact, I've already talked to Dr. Lacey about that.
You have?
Oh, yeah. He recommended a fellow in Oakville. That's where we come from.
Good, that's a fine idea. He might have other ideas of care and treatment, I don't know. But the opinion I've given you is not merely my own. It's a consensus of our medical board.
It's just that I don't mind a little time in bed, but 2 months.
Oh, I never guaranteed that it would be only 2 months. Mr. Drake, you are in the middle of your 3rd month. For all we know, you might be off your feet for a lot longer than that.
My goodness, how cautious can you be?
Well, I think the risks of losing the baby right now are quite high. I would say the next 4 weeks are critical. And even after that, in the later stages of the pregnancy, I think you would be a lot happier after you talk to your local physician.
Yes, well, that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, Mr. Drake, I am sorry
but it's for your sake, not just the baby.
Yes, indeed. Your health is the first consideration.
As I told your wife, even with all these precautions, nobody can really guarantee a satisfactory term. I mean, you might do everything you're asked to do and still lose the baby.
Oh, no. No, we're not going to lose this baby, Doctor. I'm taking bed.
Hope the rebels.
Oh.
Whoa! Well, how are you? What are you getting all excited about? You knew I was going to come back.
Oh, I know, and I'm so glad to see you. Even though it means losing my job.
Well, if that's the kind of work you're doing around here, then maybe it's the kind of job you might want to lose.
Oh, don't worry about that. That's just my old house cleaning instinct. Every time I have a couple of spare minutes, I'm always washing and polishing something.
Well, I don't think the hard work disagree with you. You look a little fat and sassy.
But you better say skinny and sassy if you want to get around me. Oh, by the way, if I go on eating those lunch specials, you won't be able to get around me at all.
I think you look this great. So does the new moon. Did I miss this place? A couple of weeks ago, I couldn't wait to get out of here. And then all of a sudden, I couldn't wait till I got back.
There's not what vacations are for.
Oh, well, now, vacation wasn't exactly what I was on there.
Oh, didn't you have a good time, you and Laurie?
Oh, Laurie had a ball. Playing detective, looking for Timmy Faraday. Forget about that. Come on, sit down. Tell me, what's been going on around here?
Well, I don't think I made you rich.
Huh?
But I don't think it was the worst 2 weeks in the restaurant business either.
Oh, wait a minute. Did the cops close the joint?
No.
Did we lose a liquor license?
No.
Well, what's the problem?
Oh, sakes. No problems at all. Well, actually, we did have a little here and there, but...
Ah, you mean the cold. Yeah, I heard about that. A few headaches around here, huh?
Oh, it was awful. But, I know that I wasn't supposed to be her bodyguard, but I still felt it was my fault.
Well, the way I hear it, Nicole is going to be okay. And the way I figured things are going to be okay around here, too.
Sure. Especially with the boss back. Well, I guess the first thing the boss is going to do is fire me. Okay.
What are you talking for firing? What?
Oh, I know you can't have more than one manager.
Oh, it's true. That's not my problem. But I do have one problem. Now, Nicole is in a delicate condition. She's going to be out of action there for a few months. I figure I need a hostess. Now, where am I going to find a nice, sweet, sassy, saucy, svelte manager hostess more than my pretty Molly O'Connor?
Johnny.
This tape is being finished. On Friday, March 4th, 1977.